This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1642, Comic Talk! I'm Brian Chrisman. I'm Shane Kelly.
I'm Adam Murdo.
And I'm Chris Eberly.
And welcome to the show.
Sorry if I blew your ears out at the end, everybody who's listening. I didn't want to go quite that loud at the end.
It's okay. You were enthusiastic.
I was.
All right. Once again, our Comic Talk episode, as Shane likes to say,
wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, loosey goosey.
There we go. I was going for the loosey goosey there.
I should have gone to that one first. I was Doctor Who thinking.
That's okay, which we'll get to in just a minute.
It's a good frame of mind to be in for this episode.
Yes. All right, but before we get into the fun and frivolity, first, a word from our sponsor, Mr. Murdo, if you would do the honors.
Our sponsor for this episode is our old friends, the Collection Drawer Company, makers of drawer boxes, the easy-access comic storage solution. Friends, has it ever happened to you that you wanted to access a comic book at the bottom of a tall stack of traditional cardboard
all
boxes?
the time!
Absolutely.
What can I do to fix that?
What a strain on the
Singing my
back to
song.
lift all those boxes off the bottommost box to access that one pesky comic you need.
Agony.
I
Would
have
it not
thrown
be-
my back out doing that.
Yes, seriously, that's chronic.
Yeah.
But would it not be nice to be able to pull a little drawer out of the front of that bottommost long box in your pile?
Yes, it would.
That way you don't have to move all those pesky, heavy long boxes from the top of that bottommost box. Well, friends, hope and pray no longer, because the answer to your troubles is here, thanks to the Drawer Box. It is a twist on the traditional comics storage long box.
Ooh, what a twist.
Yes, what a twist. Yes, it does have that drawer I mentioned. It pulls out of the front of the box. There is no lid to lift off the top, so you don't need to mess around with piles of long boxes to access the box on the bottom of one such pile. So it's much easier accessibility for your comics collection. It makes them more easily stackable within your home. It's really just a wonderful boon to the serious comics collector. The Collection Drawer Company also produces a number of accessories to go with the drawer boxes, such as the box lock storage anchors for improved stability. Allows you to stack your drawer boxes that much higher. There's the box sort upright dividers, which are a cardboard partition that help to keep your comics safer and more organized within the drawer boxes. The drawer boxes themselves come in a variety of sizes and shapes, so you can use them to store not only comics, but LP records, action figures, magazines, sewing supplies, and so forth. And be sure to ask them about their volume discounts. In case you have a large number of traditional lift-off-the-top long boxes you need to replace with drawer boxes, the Collection Drawer Company will work with you and allow you to buy all those drawer boxes at a reasonable discount. You can find all the details at their website, collectiondrawer.com.
Excellent as always, sir.
Magnificent, sir.
Many thanks, gentlemen.
All right. And, of course, a couple other early announcements to get out of the way here. In just a few days, this episode is being recorded. The voting will end for the CGS Best of 2016 awards. Adam, want to talk a little bit about the voting process?
Certainly. Well, the thing to do is to go to thecomicforums.vanillaforums.com. Go to our main forum page there. You will find a thread that's labeled Best of 2016 Awards, the final vote. Go in there. You'll find a complete list of the nominees for the 16 different categories in which we're seeking votes from you, the listeners. Take a look at them. Choose one and only one nominee to vote for in each of those categories. We ask that you vote for something in at least 12 of the 16 categories. Then make up your ballot via email and email it into bestof@comicgeekspeak.com by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday evening, February 27th.
2017.
2017, yes, that is important.
All right. I voted. Did you vote yet, Shane?
Not yet, I didn't.
Just wear that big old I voted button.
That's correct. Chris, did you vote yet?
Not yet.
Got it. Adam, did you vote yet?
I usually abstain from the vote myself.
What?
And just in case anybody out there who actually was nominated is listening, you may vote as well.
Yes, yes, that's perfectly legal.
Yes.
And Shane, you're committed.
To vote?
Yes, to voting.
Yeah.
You promised me to getting a ballot.
Oh,
for you,
absolutely.
so-
Yeah.
All right. Also, a little bit of housekeeping. I want to mention what the off-the-rack books are for the most recent previews that we guys talked about.
Oh, yes. We wanted to seek Shane's input. And he said, "No, I don't care." So, so based on that, we just kind of went forward. And from DC, for the month of April, we're going to be doing the first issue of the Batman the Shadow miniseries. For Marvel, we're going to do the first issue of the Black Panther and the Crew series.
Yes.
And for independent picks, we're going to try Underdog #1 as written by
No
Backlash.
need to fear. Underdog will be
Is
here.
thanks to American mythology. So those are your 3 off-the-rack picks for the month of April. Play along at home if you would like.
What is it? Speed of lightning, roar of thunder.
Yes.
Underdog.
The secret compartment of my ring I filled with an Underdog super energy pill. Okay.
I still have. I'll have to take a picture of it maybe. A 1970s vinyl toy. I did in my searches finally find out who produced it, but I forget now. That I bought on the boardwalk of Ocean City, New Jersey, pretty close to the Planter Shop back then. There was a store that had nothing but cartoon characters made up in these vinyl figures, and I had Underdog. We had a Flintstone a Fred Flintstone at one time. My sister had Bullwinkle. I had Rocky, but the only one that survived is Underdog. So far.
Very good. Of course, he survived.
That's right.
Another little bit of a mention I want to give, or a plug, if you will. The Museum of the Shenandoah Valley is having an exhibition. It's actually started February 11th, running through May 14th. Superheroes and Superstars, the works of Alex Ross.
Nice.
Very nice. And on Saturday, April 1st, from 12:30 to 3:30, Alex Ross will be there for a signing event,
Nice.
along with Uncle Sal.
Nice.
Now, I don't know if Sal's going to be signing, but Sal will be there with Alex. And we're trying to get some of the geeks to head down for a road trip.
We're going to each lop a finger off and send
I
it.
can't. If I learn how to speak, I will be dangerous someday. But I'm definitely going to head them down in the Pantsmobile, perhaps. And if anyone wants to tag along, we'll work out a
Caravan.
carpool, caravan, whatever. Head down to
Convoy.
convoy. Yes.
Rocking through the night.
Pants, is this the same exhibition that I saw in Pittsburgh a couple years back?
It
with
may be.
some of the
This is
crew?
organized by the Norman Rockwell Museum, so it might be. But there's definitely a lot of new things on exhibit, which I've seen. I'm like, hamana. So I definitely want to check that out. So if you're in the area between now and May 14th, definitely check it out. And like I say, if you're going to be in the area on the 1st of April, April Fool's Day, what a time to see Uncle Sal, and of course get an Alex Ross signature. Because you think it'd be.
I just want to mention, because I went with Brian Deemer and Jamie D and some of my Wild Pig crew to that at the Andy Warhol Museum in Pittsburgh some years back. It is a breathtaking. If it's anything like what they had in Pittsburgh, it is a breathtaking exhibit. They take you through the whole breadth of his career. They even had drawings from when he was a little kid. And when you see those drawings, you already realize the talent that he clearly had even at that young age. And it's if you're a fan of Ross, if you're a fan of the medium, you owe it to yourself if you can to get to this exhibit.
And I should, of course, mention the website to go visit for more information. It's themsv.org. All right. Well, again, this is our loosey-goosey episode, so I have some things to talk about. Any guys have anything you want to talk? Just jump in.
I wanted to mention right off the bat, because I think we should, is the passing of Richard Hatch
Yes.
of Battlestar Galactica.
That was sad.
Who was I'm sorry, Shane, go ahead.
That was sad.
Yeah, who was a fine actor. He died at the age of 71 this month from pancreatic cancer. Many listeners, no doubt, grew up. They probably saw the Battlestar Galactica in 1978. He, of course, played Apollo. He was also known for soap operas in the streets of San Francisco. But what I remember most fondly for is the outstanding turn he did as Tom Zarek in the reimagined Galactica, where you realize, wow, this guy really has acting chops. He was one of the most compelling, complex characters on that show. And I know he tried to, and Shane can back me if I'm wrong, but I know he tried to get Galactica redone, like his own version of it.
Yeah, he did.
And I think he even wrote some novels.
He wrote 3, I think. I have 2 of them. I don't think I have a 3rd one anymore.
And you know that his reimagining never came to pass. I know he initially was not pleased with what they were going to do, but they asked him to come on board, and man, what a turn he did on that show.
Yeah, I want to say he even had Herbert Jefferson Jr. helping him out in a clip for a continuation, a live-action continuation that he was shopping around to different studios, if I remember right, right around the time that he was writing the books, as well as I think it was 2005 when I met him. I had a picture posted on Facebook for a while when I did get to meet him. That was a lot of fun.
It was like 2005, I think it was your picture, right?
I think that's what it was.
You were a young lad back then.
Was, yeah. I had the whole
with your evil goatee on, from the Mirror Universe.
He was very pleasant. I couldn't get the camera to work at first, and he said, "Well, just come back when you can, and I'll stand up and we'll snap a picture if we can." And about an hour later, I finally got the stupid camera to work because it was an old-fashioned one with film and everything.
Oh my!
And he was gracious enough to do it. But yeah, we had a good conversation about the show and the books. I want to say he had a hand in maybe a comic that was coming out too. He was trying to create something different than Battlestar Galactica that was coming out at that time too. And we had a discussion about that for a while. It was very pleasant to meet him.
Well, he was a fine actor, and rest in peace. So
I can at least say of that show, I have met Richard Hatch, Herbert Jefferson Jr., and Dirk Benedict. All different years, but I have met them all. I did get all their autographs. Matt actually helped me with the autograph for with Dirk Benedict. I actually got that autograph before I actually met him. And then up in New York, I think it was, the one year he was there, and I went over and talked to him for a few minutes.
Never met Lorne Greene?
No. No, he passed away too soon.
Yes.
God, I used to love him. It's funny because with Battlestar Galactica, with both actors that played Adama, both Lorne Greene and Edward James Olmos, it seems to me that really both of them put their heart and soul into that character for everything that they did for it. And it just amazed me that we as fans got lucky enough to have two actors that really just loved doing that role in those respective shows. It was a lot of fun to watch them. And I met Edward James Olmos as well one time and talked to him for a few minutes about it. It's just thrilling to me that both kind of father figure, leader figures of the shows both really seemed to pour everything they had into the shows. It was great. I really wish the one in the 70s would have lasted a little bit longer. Instead of the Galactica 1980, which I did watch as a kid, and I have tried to watch some episodes as I found them on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something.
Accent on tried to.
They are a little bit harder to get through, but I have watched them through once as an adult, and they don't hold up as well, but they are okay. But I really prefer the classic Battlestar Galactica. I wish I would have gotten a little bit more time to explore.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun, though.
Well, let's see if this segue works from one sci-fi TV show to another, talking about Doctor Who. Yeah. I recently came back from Los Angeles, California, from the Gallifrey One convention. It was a 28th Gallifrey One. It's a fan-run Doctor Who convention, and it's not-for-profit, held out in Los Angeles at the Marriott by the airport. And I love going out there. I first got into Doctor Who in 2013. And we talked about it on the air. And Data Heroes Con, one of our listeners, Rod Hedrick, was talking about this convention called Gallifrey, where he's been to for many years. Now, at that time, the 2014 was already sold out. Mm-hmm. But we talked about it, and so I went in 2015. I've been there every year since. Lucky it's hard to get tickets for that. And Rod has been very gracious to let me room with him, so I got down on the cost and put up with my, being brownie for a little while.
Pants antics? I get it. Got to come up with a word for that.
I'm trying to play it low key now, but so again, thanks to Rod for helping me out with the roommate, and it was a lot of fun. It's you get this family atmosphere because it's intimate. They limit the attendees to I think maybe at most like 4,000.
That's it total.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's a whole weekend, Friday, Saturday. So there's even a gathering on Thursday. Like a social with other fans. And they always have a great guests, great programming there. And I went a little overboard, getting some autographs. I don't usually do this, but when I went in Rome, so this year I got autographs of Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor, as well as a photo op. Autograph of Daphne Ashbrook, who played his companion, Dr. Grace Holloway. Got an autograph of Katie Manning, played Jo Grant, who's just as bubbly and wonderful as can be. I mean, she kissed me, quite frankly. Everybody gave a kiss. Oh, thank you. And it's like, wow, okay, I got a kiss from Jo Grant. How about that? Peter Purvis, who played Stephen, who's also a long-running presenter on the Blue Peter show over in the UK. Annika Wills, who played Polly. Lala Ward, who played the second Romana, who hasn't done a North American convention like over 20 years.
Wow.
So she came over.
I didn't realize she was gone. She was not around that long in America conventions.
And Louise Jameson, who played Leela.
Wow. So
that was cool. And, they had like panels and discussions. And one of the panels, I think it was on Saturday, I went to, was called, let me get the official name for it here. It was like Days Gone By, where they had, the classic actors from like the early 60s and 70s, Annika Wills, Fraser Hines, who played Jamie as well. Well, there was an episode of Doctor Who, like from the William Hartnell era, where they go to the OK Corral, and meet all the folks from there. And in the episode, Peter Purvis' character has to sing in a saloon, and he sings the Ballad of the Last Chance Saloon. So there, this guy, the guy who actually knew him, one of the guys comes up to the microphone and says, "Hey, could you sing the song?" He was like, "Oh no, F off, whatever." We have had to laugh, but he goes, "No, I don't know the words. I should know the words." And the guy had the lyrics, so he brought it, and he sang it up on stage. He sang it on stage after helping out, and he hadn't sung it in like 50 years. So that was amazing to see that, and of course then Katie Manufacturer up there dancing along while he's singing along. So it was a hoot and a half.
That's funny.
So I enjoyed that, and a lot of other cool panels.
Did the Benson sisters get onto a panel?
Well, funny you should mention that. Yes, the Benson sisters were out there as well. They actually broke through and were first-time guests of the convention because they're longtime Doctor Who fans, and they were on a couple of panels. They were on, they actually had their own, what they call a coffee clatch, which they have these intimate little gatherings of about 12 fans. I got into that. We're just talking about things for like an hour. They were on a writing TV for the modern viewer.
Nice.
And they had a signing, then also in the dealer's room. And they were actually on the Nerdist Comics Panel podcast show.
Wow.
The Nerdist has a panel about writing for comics with Ben Blacker and Heath Corson. But they actually recorded a live panel at the convention. Also on the panel was Paul Cornell and Tony Lee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was fun. And they gave their origin and how they got into Doctor Who and into comics. Of course, they're writing for Batgirl and the Birds of Prey.
Sure.
And The 100 for the CW. And Julie told me that she was listening to the nomination show, and she's listening, geez, when am I getting nominated for anything? And of course, the very last category was, as I mentioned, Breakthrough Town of 2016. So they're both very happy they got nominated. So thank all the listeners who voted for them.
Yeah, the listener's choice, your choice, would have been my choice too.
Would have been my choice.
So they thank the listeners.
Sure it was taken care of for me.
They thank the listeners for voting for them for the nomination process. And as I just said, they can vote if they want to.
Yes, they may. Each of them may.
Yeah, exactly. And I knew that they had a Doctor. They actually sort of say they got into comics or to write for Doctor Who comics. They want to write for Doctor Who for comics, and they have a story to tell, which it's a Romana 2 story. And I'm in my watching. I've gone back to the very beginning and started watching all the way through. So I'm actually at The Horns of Nimon is the next show I have to watch, and that's in Romana's era. Okay. So I haven't gotten to the point where they want to tell the story about that. So I'll get to that at some point. But actually, when I was out there, we're talking that Friday, they had just turned in a script to DC for a non-Birds of Prey thing. So I won't mention it on the air because actually I didn't read it. They actually, I didn't want to read it. I want to be surprised and enjoy it because
I want to see it all together and stuff.
Because last year I was talking to Julie, and she was really excited about this one script she'd written, and she's going on. It was about issue 7, the Valentine's Day. So she's going on and talking about it, and she's really excited about it. And she gets to the end, and I'm like, "You just told me the whole story. I wanted to be surprised when I read it." So looking forward to that. Maybe I'll talk to you guys off the air about what it is.
Yeah.
So, but looking forward to that, and they will also be at the upcoming C2E2 convention. As I mentioned, April 21st, 2nd, and 3rd in Chicago. And by that time, their first trade will come out, Who is Oracle, for Batgirl and the Birds of Prey.
Are you going to C2E2?
Yes, I'm going to C2E2, and the person to your left is also going as well.
Nice.
Hey.
I thought you should have done, hey.
Hi.
So it was great catching up with them out of Los Angeles. And, I also love going out there because I'm going to L.A. in February. I figured, wow, it's going to be sunny and 75 every day. Jiminy God, that Friday, it was like a monsoon. It was the worst rain they've had there in like 6 years. So it's like, I was like, it was better weather back here in Reading. It's like,
Well, Pants, the gods knew you were coming.
Oh, you. But anyway, I had a great time out there, and probably I'll try to go out again next year.
That's cool.
Yes. Let's see what else I have on the agenda. Oh, before we started recording, which we won't mention, but you mentioned about the Lego Batman movie.
Yes.
Shane.
I was going to ask if you guys talked about that yet.
No, I just saw it yesterday.
Oh, okay. Boy, you really held out. I couldn't have done that. I'd have went wacko.
I have not seen it yet.
Oh!
Actually, depending on how late we go tonight, I may go after we're done.
Oh, it's so worth it. Gosh.
Can we talk about it?
You may just as soon as I get out of the room.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil the fun stuff for Murd.
Chris, have you seen it?
I have indeed.
Oh, okay. So we can have a little. Okay, well, all right. So as Murd is going into
Murd's in the
soundproof with his fingers over his ears.
Yeah, he's got the cone of silence.
Well, you're the big.
I loved it. I had a lot of fun watching it. To me, I think the first 3/4 of it was absolutely spectacular. And my only problem with the last quarter of it, and it's not bad at all, by the time that last quarter of the movie happens, it's the big battle of all the villains and everything, and that seemed more normal, like any other big battle would be.
By the way, spoilers, just in case we didn't
spoilers. Like any normal battle of big bad guys would be. So it was great, but the whole first 3/4 of it was filled with so many Easter eggs and nods to different things. My God, at some points now my boys know a little bit more about Batman history than I think your average kid, especially Matt, since he did his History Fair project on the history of Batman in film, as I do air quotes that nobody can see. So he learned a little bit while we were doing that project together, while I was helping him with it. And there were parts where we are laughing and the other people are kind of smiling and chuckling, but nobody got some of the stuff like we got the stuff. Some of those inside jokes were really clever. I loved all the crazy 60s villains that were in it. They featured Egghead like 8 times.
A Lego Egghead.
God, they better come out with one of him. I love that they included a Chief O'Hara, that Commissioner Gordon was in it, that Batgirl ended up being in it. The way Dick Grayson became Robin just was hilarious. I loved the Bat computer voice, which now I ask my phone all kinds of stuff and get Batman responses.
It was Siri. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. All the great little things you saw in the trailer were even better on screen. I loved when he was warming up his lobster in the microwave. All those like goofy things, sitting in the big theater room, flipping channels, trying to find something to watch. A little bit odd to me that a Lego movie had live action clips in it.
Oh, the Jerry Maguire,
the Batman 60s Bat-2C clip. Right. But I mean, hilarious. It was fine. It was fun. It just surprised me. But I love one of my favorite parts is Alfred's explaining to Bruce with the cowl on his head, has Batman yet, all the different periods of him as Batman, and it goes through every single movie iteration.
2012,
backwards,
2009, 2006.
Well, they showed the serial Batman from the 40s.
which blew me away. And again, my boys,
history of film. Right.
My boys knew it because we have them, and again with the history of film thing. So that was great. But I think other people are like, what the hell is this?
Floppy ears.
And then to go from that 40s one to cut and say, well, there was that weird period in the 60s, to a live-action cut of Batman doing, I think it was the Bat-2C.
It sure was.
I just died laughing. And again, I'm like, ah! Oh, God, no one else is laughing. Boy, they don't get this at all. But I thought it was a lot of fun. I cannot wait to see it again. It was great.
Did you get any of the Lego sets?
Oh, God, yes. Let's see. I've gotten the little Batman and Joker with the balloon escape set. I have the Riddler car, and that was the first one I bought because the Riddler car comes with
Well, first of all, just because I work at a toy store, and it's hard not to look at the Legos when you have to do work in the areas. So I tried, but because they always seem to spoil movies.
Sure.
Whether it's,
Giant Man
or whatever. So I was like, I tried, but I saw that Riddler vehicle, and I saw the characters that came with it. I think the first one I saw was a Magpie.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, wow, that's an obscure villain. I was like, oh my God, there's Calendar Man. Oh my God, there's Kite Man. It's like, oh my God. So,
that was an absolute must-buy because you got, I think in that one you got Batman, Riddler and those other three.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the other set I bought at that same time was the Catwoman, Robin, and Batgirl jewelry heist set. So in 2 sets, I had almost every character I immediately cared about with between the main cast and some obscure, like Calendar Man, Kite Man. I couldn't believe it. I was freaking out. And then I picked up the Batman Joker Balloon Escape one that I mentioned. And then I ordered, because I wanted to get the Disco and Clown Batman from the Lego.com store. So I ordered the Joker's car with Harley Quinn and the figure accessory pack, which had Chief O'Hara in it, even though it's not named. It's in there with a couple cops and the bat signal. I think there's one other I can't think of at the moment. No, maybe that's it. I keep slowly... I swore I wasn't going to get any of them, because what do I need more Legos for? But when I saw the Riddler car, that one I had to get with Kite Man and Calendar Man alone was worth it. But yeah, I slowly keep... Oh, and I did get, before Christmas, all the minifigure set, all 20 of them, in 2 trips to Target, because that's where I found them, and no duplicates.
You wound me deeply.
I'm sorry, man. No duplicates. The one time I dumped a bunch in, felt the packages at home.
I beg your pardon.
There were a couple duplicates, sent them, returned them, kept all the single ones. My second trip, I, again, figured out what figures were what. I got the whole thing in 2 trips, no duplicates. It was awesome. I did buy an extra King Tut, though. I couldn't pass that up. A 60s Batman King Tut, man. I never thought they'd make that. So, yeah, now I need an egghead. Oh, boy, I hope they come out with an egghead. There are other sets coming out later this year. One of them is the Ultimate Batmobile that's featured more towards the end of the movie, and that has some neat things to it. The Penguin car is kind of neat, but like some of the mainstay ones I expected to have a bigger role really didn't have a big role in the movie at all. Penguin's one of them. I thought he would be in it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I loved that Billy D. Williams was the voice of Two-Face finally.
Yes.
Just any little nuance like that, man, I just absolutely loved. Loved the way the Batcave looked. Man, if I could build that sucker, that would be awesome. Every single car you could possibly think of, the Batboat, the planes.
The outfits.
Oh.
Shark repellent.
Shark repellent. Oh, God, the shark repellent. I love that they used the shark repellent. That was above all, King Tut and then Dick Grayson in the minifigure packs were the ones I wanted to get because he comes with the shark repellent in that minifigure pack. And then I broke down, and at Target, I have not seen these anywhere else. I looked for them at Toys R Us. I looked on Lego.com. Searched Amazon. They have display cases for the Lego Batman movie for the minifigures.
Yes.
I think the only difference is the top is all black instead of multicolored. I ended up buying 2 of them, and I have all the minifigures in them. It actually looks really nice to have them displayed like that. But boy, that was a lot of fun to put them in there, see all these little obscure Bat characters and villains, and I had an absolute wonderful time seeing it with the boys, putting a couple of these Lego things together. It's a great, great fun movie.
One thing I wanted to point out, especially if you're a fan of people who are fans of just TV in general, the fact that they took Will Arnett and had Michael Cera be Robin when they both starred on Arrested Development, which is, I think, one of the greatest comedic TV shows of all time, was just a fun little extra twist, especially if you know how those characters interacted on that show.
Yeah.
It was. I echo all your sentiments, Shane. It was thoroughly enjoyable. I love Rosario Dawson. Anytime I hear her voice, that alone, I've just, I'm over the moon, titillated. It was. Like you said, if you love the Batman, you love the history of the character, if you're familiar with his multimedia history, his comic book history, there's a feast of Easter eggs in there for you. So definitely check it out.
And I tried to catch at the end credits all of the people they thanked or inspired the episode. I caught a couple of them, Paul Dini, Marv Wolfman, Carmen Infantino, just, so many comic creators who got a real big, thank you dinner at the end.
That was great.
So again, I went into the movie not knowing anything about it, as I generally do, except for Kite Man and Calendar Man and so forth, because I avoid trailers as much as I can. And I enjoyed it for what it was, but I wasn't prepared for the I won't say sappiness, but for the whole family emotional kind of part is like, okay, it took me quite by surprise. I'm sitting there on the theater like, wasn't crying or anything, of course.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's a little.
I teared up a couple times.
Okay, so
my youngest did too. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he got a little emotional about some stuff.
Just like his dear old dad.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Yeah.
It was quite sweet.
So I wasn't prepared for that.
I didn't think that would be in there either. I actually thought, when this movie was first announced, I thought it was going to be more of a sequel to the Lego Movie. Not necessarily having everybody in it. I just thought that they would at least mention the adventure that they had with Emmett and everybody. And I half thought I saw a soundtrack release list with Everything is Awesome on it.
I did see that in the closing credits.
And
that wasn't the closing credits.
I'm like, okay, well, I completely missed it sometime during the film.
Right.
I half expected at least Emmett to show up just as a little cameo, but none of that happened, and that's fine. It just surprised me because seeing the soundtrack list, I thought, oh, well, they've got to be in here at least a little tiny bit, but it was fine. By the time I got into all the Easter eggs and all the fun stuff, I completely forgot until the end. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, they weren't in it. Crap.
Last thing I wanted to mention that I think we should let Murd come back from the soundproof booth is the Justice League cameo was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And Channing Tatum was an inspired choice to play Superman.
Yeah.
I mean, Shane had like Black Vulcan in there,
yes.
and
Apache Chief,
Apache Chief,
Diablo
and the
was in it?
Samurai.
Wonder
Yep.
Twins, Gleek,
The Wonder Twins and Gleek, yes.
and
Wonder Dog.
Wonder Dog, Wonder Mutt, Wonder Dog, doing the record DJing.
Yes.
Oh, I couldn't believe it.
That was fantastic.
I found somebody had that as a screen cap somewhere. I snapped a copy of that so I could put it on my Facebook page at some point. I love that whole part with Batman not being invited to the Justice League party. What a laugh riot. And then when I saw Zan, Jaina, and Gleek and Wonder Dog, I went nuts. And again, that was a part that nobody else got because I was laughing up a storm.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And everyone's like, okay, guys in the Justice League. Yeah. All right.
All right, Bird, you can come back. I don't know if you can hear me.
He can hear you.
There he is. Okay.
That was. I want
Enter a legend.
of that last part. I want a gift set of all of those.
Okay.
All at one time.
Oh, we'll work that out then for
Yeah,
you.
sure.
All right. He says Murr gets mic'd up again. Can we talk about the Legion TV show? Has anybody seen the Legion TV show?
I haven't seen it yet, but you may talk about it. I
didn't know there was a
recorded to
Legion
watch.
TV show.
Oh,
Wow.
yes,
there was a
yes.
Legion.
It's on the FX network, Chris.
And this is the X Universe Legion, not
Right.
the DC Legion superheroes.
Right. This is Professor X's illegitimate son.
Oh, yes, I heard about that. Okay.
Which
Go ahead.
hasn't necessarily been discussed in the episodes. I've seen the first two.
I've seen the first three, so
Okay.
I'm current. It has not been brought up at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about it before we recorded last week, and the first thing I said is, well, the pilot was amazing, but I want to know where Rachel Keller's been in my life and why won't she return my calls? But that pilot just blew my mind.
It was practically made to hook you in, Brian. It began with Happy Jack by The Who.
Exactly. It drew me in. And I've seen the second episode, which was just trippy. And you have to watch it very carefully, as I gesture with my hands very carefully, because you blink and you'll miss like a quick cut or something like that. And I'm not really sure how to explain the show. Can you explain the show at all, Adam?
I can give it a good old college try.
That's what we asked for here.
Okay, so those of you who are worried about watching this show because you don't know the source material don't need to worry. Because
Yeah, I would agree with that. Because there's really not much superheroing at all that I've been able to do.
But is it in the X-Men universe of the films, though?
It's too soon to tell, Chris. There have been
Okay, all right.
no references made to any X-Men character, just to the concept of mutanity.
Mutants.
If you know what
Okay.
a mutant is in the Marvel Universe, that's really all the background you need
Yes.
to come into this.
Okay.
There are mutants in the world, and there is kind of a war brewing between mutant factions and forces connected to the U.S. government, it's suggested, that are trying to subdue them, bring them to heel.
Is it set in current times?
It is...
I believe so.
It's also a little difficult
there's-
to tell. Some of the hairstyles are a little retro. The music is, in the first episode we had Happy Jack by The Who, and there's
She's
actually
a Rainbow by the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, there's a dance number set to that.
Okay.
Oh,
That's-
my
which
God,
was
yes.
great. It's that's next to Paint It Black. That's my favorite Rolling Stones song. So happy to have that in there. It's something they probably could have cut for time, but the first episode was 90 minutes long, so that's one of the little indulgences they were able to slip in there.
Yeah.
For subsequent episodes have only been 60 minutes each, and I think it's just as well.
And you never read much of him.
No, as we discussed before, one of the episodes, I read the Marvel Now series, the first couple of issues of it.
Right, X-Men Legacy, as it was called.
But this is credited, in the credits they mentioned, based on the works by Chris Claremont and Bill Sienkiewicz.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they reference that in the opening credits. Okay. And just to your point about the time frame, they do have, flashbacks and things. So I'm assuming current time, but, don't put your money on anything. This is out there.
Yeah, cool. Clothing, hairstyle,
in a good way. In a good
decor,
way, I think.
It is a little ambiguous time-wise, but we can probably... It's safe to assume that it's set in the present day as it is that it's set any other time.
Okay.
So some of the technology we see, it seems like it's probably current.
All right.
But yeah, so the main character, David Haller, is in a mental institution as the first episode opens, and it's about his struggles to understand what's going on in his mind. And by the end of that first episode, it's been established pretty concretely that he's a mutant. He's possibly the most powerful mutant ever seen on Earth. And he's been rescued by a band of mutant activists, not unlike the X-Men. Okay. He's been rescued and taken to their little compound in the woods. And the following two episodes have just been everybody sitting around this compound and poking around in David Haller's head, trying to figure out he's believed he's schizophrenic or suffering from some other mental illness all this time. They assure him that it's nothing but his telepathic powers, which are incredibly strong, kind of in overdrive and causing mental problems in the way that he interacts with the world and with other sentient beings. And as things go, there's a pretty deep mystery in place here. We're trying to figure out what the real extent of Haller's powers are, what's going on in his mind. He keeps having visions of this grotesquely obese, demonic-looking, like evil Humpty Dumpty-looking guy, who I'm hoping is going to turn out to be Amal Farouk, the Shadow King, who is a powerful mutant telepath from the Marvel Comics. Okay. Yeah, there really haven't been any... Well, Sydney Barrett, the actress that you like, her character, that is actually a name from the Marvel Comics. But there have not been a whole lot of Marvel Easter eggs so far. That's one thing that I would like to see more of as the season continues. In the comics, the deal with Legion was he had multiple personalities. He had dissociative identity disorder, and each of his personalities had a different mutant power. So he had potentially dozens of different mutant powers, which made him one of the most powerful mutants alive.
Sure.
And he is manifesting not necessarily different personalities, but lots of different powers so far in just the first couple of episodes of this show.
And Dan Stevens is tremendous in this. Oh, my gosh. From Downton Abbey. It's just when he's like being interviewed by the various psychiatrists, just some of his mannerisms, how he's throwing all this dialogue out at you, and it's just he's brilliant in this. Really is.
He was very well cast.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, he just acts like a man who's had some mental troubles but has weathered them well and is just a little bit cynical and wary and off kilter as a result. It's an eccentric performance, but delightfully so.
Excellent.
Yeah, if I had visually, it's very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's all kinds of surrealistic visuals. We said that some of them look like they popped right out of a Sienkiewicz comic. I do feel like the first episode was a tad decompressed.
Okay.
And I feel like if a little more needs to happen than just a bunch of people sitting around this compound probing Legion's mind. One of the mutants on hand has the ability to project himself and others into other people's memories. And so they're using this to slowly, meticulously unravel the very tightly tangled neural knot that is David Haller's mind. And eventually they're going to find out some secrets of his past. I'm expecting a guest appearance by Patrick Stewart by the end of the first season.
Really?
Well, if Professor X is his father, then does it not stand to reason?
Well, they did have a scene where he was, as a child, talking to his father. His father was all in silhouette.
Or the man that he thought was his father.
Oh, that's true.
That's one revelation that we may possibly get later on, if they're doing this right. But yeah, I do feel that the plot it's emphasizing style over story so far. I mean, it's been fun. It's been a fun ride. The visuals have been phantasmagorical. I've enjoyed that dimension of it very much. But I think the plot needs to branch out a little bit. I mean, it's been 2 episodes now of David Haller has a sister. who came to visit him in the asylum for a couple of years. And she has now been captured by the forces that were secretly behind the asylum and who want to get Legion back in their custody. And so they've got her as bait. But it's been 2 episodes now of a Holler wanting to go rescue his sister and not actually doing it.
Do we know, since it's his sister in the show, is it a real sister or a stepsister? We don't even know that. He just thinks, no matter what, it's his sister, and that's all we know.
Yes.
Okay.
Might be a half-sister or something. Okay. As far as he's concerned, this is his sister. He cares deeply about her. He wants to rescue her. And she's being used as leverage against him.
All right.
In X-Men 2, wasn't Stryker's son supposed to essentially be Legion?
He was more like Mastermind. He was like
Mastermind?
a mutant illusionist. He was able to project himself into other people's memories.
Still very enjoyable.
Oh, yeah. I'm on board.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Now, you watch it online?
Yeah, it's a long story. No,
Okay.
Well, the first episode was available for free download on iTunes.
Yeah, which I grabbed, too.
Yeah. The second episode I had to watch out in L.A. when I was out there.
Okay. All right. Very good. I'm looking forward to that.
Anybody mind if I tout a few comics?
Well, I was hoping we'd get some actual comic before we get yelled at.
It's Comic Talk, so let's live up to the name, Chris.
Well, I wanted to recommend a few things to our listeners. I've always touted the Marvel Epic collections. They're a series of trades where they reprint significant runs from a lot of their iconic characters. Mm-hmm. And they just released, I picked it up yesterday, Daredevil Epic Collection. It reprints its volume through reprints Daredevil's issues 42 to 63. Now, if you're a fan of Daredevil's Silver Age, these are stories from 1968 to 1970 by Stanley Roy Thomas, Gene Colan, and Barry Windsor Smith. Reading's own Dan Atkinson was one of the inkers on these classics. Mm-hmm. And if you go back to our Daredevil Spotlights from 2014, Kevin and I talked at length about this era in our Silver Age episode, and we especially touted the classic story Brother Take My Hand, which is so good they named this trade after it.
Oh, great.
And if you are a Colan fan, my God, you please pick this book up. And these are classic Daredevil Silver Age stories. They have that swashbuckling feel. A lot of the classic rogues Daredevil dealt with. You know, there's team-ups with the Black Panther in here. Nighthawk. Villains like the Torpedo, Gladiator, Murd. The first issue reprint is Nobody Laughs at the Jester.
Damn Skippy, Nobody Laughs at the Jester.
Indeed. So these are classic latter Silver Age Daredevil stories. And what I love about the Epic collections is, unlike other Marvel trades, which I think are terribly overpriced, this is a good bang for your buck. It's $40, but you're getting over 20 issues of continuity in color. And I think that's a good deal, frankly. You're spending about $2 a story, basically. Great trade. Highly recommend that. Now, a couple recent single issues I wanted to mention. Francesco Francavilla took over The Spirit, and I just read issue 1 of his story, The Corpse Makers.
Who is publishing this?
Dynamite.
Dynamite. Okay.
And the opening splash page, it says to Will and Darwin, and so the man is acknowledging that the masters before him. And let me tell you something, boy, The Spirit's in good hands.
Oh, that's good.
The art. I mean, we all like Francavilla's artwork.
Oh,
it's breathtaking here. It is breathtaking. He so captures the feel of the Spirit in his world, and of course, no Spirit story is complete without using the art to capture the atmospherics of the environment he's operating in. He does that so brilliantly here. There's a 2-page title spread you will salivate over.
Jeez.
Tremendous. So I recommend that. Murd, I want to thank you for this recommendation because I'm ashamed to say I haven't read Astro City in years. I followed the book religiously the first several years it was out, and then I kind of fell off during one of the Dark Age arcs.
Which did go on for a pretty long time.
It was long, but it's my own fault because I love this title. And we talked about a couple months ago how Astro City 41 is actually the 100th issue of Astro City Stories featuring the character the Astronaut. And it goes back to Astro City's sort of golden age origins. Let me tell you right now, I haven't read a Kurt Busiek story in quite some time. He remains one of the best writers in comics, hands down. And this story is a wonderful take on, without spoiling it, on how Astro City gets its name in sort of the World War II era. And the astronaut is basically a cross between Howard Hughes, Tony Stark, and Clark Gable. And Brent Anderson continues to knock it out of the park. You got the great Alex Ross cover, of course. He's done the cover, I think, of every Astro City story ever published. If you love the Golden Age, if you love that era and the feel of that era, please pick this up. It just came out, and it makes me want to go back and read all the Astro City stories I missed. Top flight. I also want to point out that Sex Criminals has finally returned. Issue 16. I didn't realize that hadn't been published in 8 months.
Wow.
And normally, what I want to point out here is normally when creators, for whatever their reasons are, and I'm sure they could be legit, let one of their indie titles lapse, I tend to lose interest and stop reading it. This happened with Powers for me. I lost interest. Other things took its place. But what I love about Fractions of Dark, I've never seen this really done before to this degree. Panchu will love this especially. They take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages with illustrations to recap the entire series. For gentlemen, I salute you, because it's tough. I mean, they have other properties they're working on. I get it. So for whatever reason, this they couldn't get the book out for quite some time. But you know what? They did right by it because they I forgot some stuff that had happened. It's been months. They did a wonderful job of recapping the entire series, and then you're right back in. This is how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. I can, for anybody who does like this, you can take 2 years off because this was so well done, and I always loved this title immensely, and I'm right back with it. One of the best indie books out there. Highest recommendation. I just read, this came yesterday, issue 1 of The Old Guard by the master Greg Rucka, with art by the great Leandro Fernandez. When I read the description on this, one of the previous episodes we did some months ago, anything Rucka writes, I try immediately. I mean, he could be publishing, his laundry list. I'm going to read it. But actually, I should have said grocery list. Laundry list doesn't make sense. But this is about 4 warriors who are immortal, have lived through much of history, and how they're trying to conceal the fact that they're immortal, and they're now like a Black Ops Special Forces team. What I just described to you, and then it's Rucka, just read it. Because the first issue was riveting. Fernandez's art is fantastic. Wonderfully done, executed combat scenes. There's a hook right at the end where you're engaged in this right away. They introduce the possibility of a new immortal who doesn't realize that they are immortal. If you love a movie like Highlander, definitely check this out. And then finally, Planet of the Apes Green Lantern #1 by Boom and DC. As many listeners know, I'm a rabid fan of the Planet of the Apes universe. I really enjoyed Planet of the Apes Star Trek, Planet of the Apes Tarzan, and Boom is going to ride this property as long as they have it. So now they have Planet of the Apes Green Lantern. Immensely fun. You've got Sinestro wreaking havoc, and then Hal Jordan and the Corps are drawn to the world of Planet of the Apes after the first movie, but before the second film. Okay. And so anybody who knows the movies knows what I'm talking about. And it's just about how Hal and Sinestro end up through the space-time continuum, ending up on the world of Planet of the Apes, and how Cornelius comes upon a ring. And I'll leave it there. But the first issue was really entertaining. So nice. That's a mini-series I'm looking forward to following through to the end. So those are just some of my quick little shout-outs for stuff that I've just been reading recently.
Outstanding.
Yeah. One of my problems I have, and it's my problem, with not just with comic books, but with TV, is that I would forget from week to week or month to month what I've read or watched. And I don't know what it is. I mean, you have Micah Steel Trapper. I don't know how you do it, but I need these recaps. Otherwise, I must go back and read the issues again and again. It puts me further and further behind. Do you guys have that problem? Or is it...
I forget a lot of stuff that I read. Not so much books. Books, if I'm in the middle of a novel and I put it down for months, I can go back to it, read the previous 2-3 pages. I'm good, and I can continue on. Comics, I do have to go back and recap the previous issue or a couple, depending on what's going on, a big arc or something like that. With the what was it? The Dark Side War? Dark Side War, is that right?
Yeah.
The Justice League thing?
Justice League, yeah.
As I kept getting behind at certain times, I'd have to go back and recap a lot of issues because of all the different things that were happening to me in that one. Month-to-month stuff, Like Batman, I got way behind on that and read them all at one clump. I had to figure out where I left off. So yeah, I do have that somewhat of a problem if there's not a recap page. I do like to see that.
Well, what I found, Pants, is, and I was joking with Bill that I eliminated a bunch of titles from my list, and Mert, I mean this with all love and respect and as a compliment. I don't want to end up in a time bubble, and I was starting to pile up so many books. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to drop these because, like Batman and Amazing Spider-Man, 2 characters I love, especially Spider-Man. I am so far behind on those titles. Like, you know what? I'm just going to stop getting them, read what I have, and by the time I probably finish those, there'll be trades out so I can catch up. That's happening now with more and more titles for me. Part of that's just my schedule and time, but it's also because I'm drawn more and more, again, to certain writers like Aruka, for example, and certain characters. But more and more, it's just who's writing what, and that's what I'm drawn to right away. There's some exceptions, like I'm really enjoying the Steve Rogers Captain America book immensely because I just love how it just turned everything on its head when it comes to Captain America and his world. But I think I dumped like a dozen titles, and I'm probably going to dump more in the weeks to come.
I do that periodically as well. Dump titles, gain titles, whatever.
And I'm getting them at a big discount, but still, it's just my God, I got like a pile
yep.
So high, and I'm like, I'm not going to get to half of these.
I'm in the same boat you are. I was glad certain things happened with both DC and Marvel, that it was the right time for me to cut back and jump off some things as I caught up on other things, which I'm still not caught up. But right. Yeah, I ebb and flow with what I get.
Yeah. It's a matter of conserving time as much as it is conserving money.
Yep. I have to say, though, and I know we talked about it, and I posted this on Facebook too, which if they do not resolicit a Booster Gold Blue Beetle 2-pack of their action figures, that is just a crime.
Yes.
Oh, is that canceled, Jake?
It's canceled.
Oh,
canceled,
I'm sorry.
Canceled. Now, somebody suggested, it was Kenny from Pittsburgh, that he did that. He ordered a Deathstroke one from the Icons line, and it was canceled, only to come back at a higher price. I sure as hell don't want a higher price. It was a stretch for me to buy it at the price that it was. But
was it $60? I think
40.
Oh, 40?
Well, it was 40 on DCBS. So that's
right. Okay.
But man, totally.
Shane, let me piggyback on that because we have a customer ordered a couple Flash figures that they were coming in. I was looking at the invoice and I said, in the name of all that's holy, the SRP was $28.
It's insane.
And I was like, what?
That's why I stopped getting so many toys, because even the stuff that's in stores, like a Toys R Us or a Target, they're up to $22 now on some things. It's crazy. Whereas not even 10 years ago, this stuff would have been $12 or $10 even. But a Booster and Beetle 2-pack, man, with the Lays and the drink, I couldn't pass it up. It couldn't have been a more perfect set.
They made it for you.
They did. Interchangeable heads with smiles. Oh, come on. That's the first toy that I have pre-ordered in 5 years, easily.
Well, keep an eye out. Hopefully they will resolicit it.
But if it comes in at $60 that I'd have to pay, forget it. There's no way.
Well, when you notice every month in the previews, DC usually has a very nice figure pack. Like stuff paying homage to Batman, an animated series, for example. But we're talking $75 in many cases for these sets.
Yep.
And, I guess there's enough people out there who can afford that, or that they make these things, but God.
And I also fear that's what happened. Not enough people pre-ordered them, so forget it. That one Shane kid, he only ordered one. Oh, well.
Yeah, well. Anything else, gentlemen? Talk about the book we got into.
Yes. From the CTS mailbag, we received a copy of a book that I've actually been wanting. I mean, I left it off my DCBS order for that month because it didn't quite make it in under budget. But now we've got our very own studio copy. It's from Quirk Books by John Morris. It's The Legion of Regrettable Supervillains, Oddball Criminals from Comic Book History, a companion volume to the earlier League of Regrettable Superheroes. And this is a fun little sort of anthology book. It's maybe 1 or 2 pages per regrettable character. It's broken down into Golden Age, Silver Age, and everything after, lumped together.
What a great concept.
The modern age. Yeah, it really is. And there's so many great potential lame villains to be included, too. Like each one has a splash page, a cover, or perhaps a couple of sample pages, and then like a full page of text breaking down why this character is regrettable. Oh, look, here's Captain Black Bunny, the arch rival of Hoppy the Marvel Bunny. Black Adam to Hoppy. And under the Marvel Age...
is Big Wheel in there?
I will look. Big Wheel is not in there, but Angar the Screamer is. The Black Talon, Dr. Bong. The Headmen, Mr. Fish. And remember, Chris, nobody laughs at Mr.
Laughs
Fish.
at Mr. Fish.
Any more than they laugh at the Jester. And Stilt Man is in there. Oh, yeah, so it's under the Silver Age. Yep, so there's, there's... I haven't actually counted, but there's a couple hundred different characters in here.
Wow.
That's fantastic. Although I wouldn't have put Dr. Bong in there because he's a purposely satirical character, so I wouldn't consider him regrettable. That's a Howard the Duck rogue.
Yeah. He was meant to be silly. And there are a few other characters that fall under that category, too. That were like there's a character called the Generic Man, who's from Keith Giffen's The Heckler miniseries in the early 90s. But,
wow, talk about deep cuts. Wow, fantastic.
Yep, I respect that research. So, yes, this. Thank you, Quirk Books, for sending us this sample. Nice. I do highly recommend this. I have the League of Regrettable Superheroes at home, and now I've got its bookend.
What is the release date for that? Does it give them the press release there?
Yes.
SRP?
It will officially be released on March 28th, 2017, and the cover price is $24.95.
And now on the very back, I saw like in green lettering at the top. What does that quote say at the top there in green?
Look out! He's got an A!
Tremendous.
Oh. And while the crowd is worked up here, I did have one bit of comics news I wanted to highlight here before we wrap up.
Certainly.
Has anybody else heard about the upcoming DC Comics and Looney Tunes crossover project? Yes, this is exciting. Since I guess the advance orders were pretty good on the DC Hanna-Barbera crossover titles due out in March, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
So we're going to get a few DC Looney Tunes things, too.
I think Batman Elmer Fudd by Tom King, I believe. I think he's working on it right now.
Yes, with artwork possibly by Lee Weeks. The promo image that's been circulating was by him, so fingers crossed he's the artist. And that's going to be done in a crime noir style by...
You watch me, what at you?
That's going to be a dream.
I hope the hell he does duck season, wabbit season.
Oh my God, stop it! Bat season.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't got a bat license.
The master of 1,000 voices.
There's a rumor we'll also be seeing Jonah Hex Yosemite Sam.
Nice.
Marvin Martian Manhunter.
I saw a picture of that on Facebook.
Oh my God.
And Lobo and the Roadrunner.
I saw a Taz picture too somewhere with the Martian Manhunter one. And Marvin the Martian.
There may be backup stories, too. I think that's the way they did the Hanna-Barbera.
Oh,
yeah,
right,
I think
right,
it is.
right.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We're living in a golden age.
That will be fun.
Yeah, that will be fun.
All right, well, I want to wrap it up because I have some other thing to do, but if you guys have to...
Yeah, no, that's fine.
You have to bail?
I do have to bail in
All right.
about 4 minutes.
All right, well, do we have time for this then? I don't know.
Go right ahead.
Yes!
We still have some of these sitting around?
Oh my God, yeah, we have a couple of them, absolutely.
All right, well then.
Once again, it's time for Muddle the Murd, our trivia segment. And in this segment, you'll be playing for two things. We have an unfinished Katie Cook Ahsoka Tano.
I love that.
Collage, if you will. Because it's unfinished, we're also going to throw in, at no extra cost to you, a Grant Gould sketch from Wolves of Odin. If you happen to muddle the Murd, and up for this edition is Kevin Malcolm. He goes, "Hi, geeks. This is my first foray into muddling territory, though not my first intro into quiz writing, as I was a pub trivia host for many years. So hopefully the questions are clear, fair, and gettable without being too easy. Question 1, pre-1970s Marvel. In Fantastic Four 49, what did Uatu the Watcher call the machine that Galactus was building on top of the Baxter building that he would use to eat the Earth?"
Wow. Yeah, this is... If I could have a lifeline, Chris, you would be it. And, all right, this is something I should know. I'm not coming up with it. The guess that's forming in my brain, and we're going to make this my official answer, is planetary energizer.
Chris?
I grunted because I can't remember it myself, I'm sorry to say.
elemental converter.
All right. Second guess would have included the word converter in it someplace, but not the word elemental, though.
Question 2, DC 1972,000. This should be interesting. In Crisis on Infinite Earths, the first named character to be shown dying via the white antimatter wall was in issue 1, and the last named character seen dying the same way is in issue 4, near as I can tell, he says. Name both.
Now, hold on a second here. The last named character to...
The first name, as opposed to just a citizen, a civilian. The first named character to be shown dying via the white antimatter was issue 1. Can you name that character?
Superwoman.
Correct.
Of Earth 3.
You had me at Superwoman.
Well, there's more than one in pre-crisis continuity.
I know.
Don't forget Kristen Wells.
I know. Who can forget Kristen Wells?
I certainly never have.
I have. And the last named character seen dying the same way is in issue 4. Name that character.
Trying to remember how far Peter and I have gotten.
Issue 3.
All right. Thank you for that hint. Oh boy. So I guess everybody else who dies by other ways. I guess Shadow Demon. And
Correct.
So forth.
This is the via the white antimatter. Issue 4.
Oh brother. Okay, I'm sort of visualizing my copy of the ACG or ICG, the
index,
the Crisis Index. Yeah,
yes,
that Perez image of all the characters who died in Crisis. Of course, if it was a villain, he or she would not be included on that. Oh boy. Gonna get the buzzer shortly.
No, there is no time limit here.
But there may be some editing.
Maybe, maybe not.
This is an epic moment.
Everyone driving is at the edge of their seat going, oh my God.
Ugh. Yeah, this is this is not coming to me. Starman.
Lord Volt.
Oh, Earth 6. Okay.
All right.
I'm not sure. Well, I'm not going to argue.
That was Lord Volt and Lady Quark, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And Princess Fern.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have any objections, talk about the judge. Question 3, 2000 to present. In Brian Wood's The Massive #1.
Great book.
The first of many geological disasters that occurred around the world happened in this nation when a storm swallowed many of the islands that comprise the country. This nation's capital is Avura. So I guess name the nation.
Okay. Well,
did I read it correctly? Do you need a rereading for that?
Nope.
Okay.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, brother. Okay. Well, we can rule out Indonesia. Okay. Oh, Micronesia.
Chris?
I love The Massive, but I'm trying to remember. That capital city is not. Crap. What's the name of the city again, Pants?
Avarua. Avarua, I hope. I'm sorry for mispronouncing it, citizens of this country.
And Mert already said Micronesia.
He did.
Oh. This is wrong, but I'm going to say Madagascar.
The Cook Islands.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Wrong, South Seas check.
So, Kevin, you have muddled the murd. He goes,
He sure did.
He says, I'm not so worried about muddling as I am murd having a fun time trying to suss out the answers. Hopefully I wasn't too cocky trying to use crisis as a question foundation. Cheers. So, Adam, I will pass on to you the 2 pieces of artwork, and I will forward you this gentleman's contact so you can tell him he has, in fact, muddled you.
Wow. It has been a long time since I sent out a prize. So congratulations, Kevin.
All right. If there's nothing else...
There's nothing else.
All right.
Shot our bolt.
We want to thank you for listening, and we will. Well, I'm stalling because I'm trying to get the music here.
All right. Well, I'll repeat our off the rack.
Yes, please do.
All right. For
and the sponsor as well.
Yes, for DC for the month of April, our off the rack pick will be Batman: The Shadow #1. For Marvel, it'll be Black Panther and the Crew #1, and for other from American mythology, Underdog #1. And our sponsor for this episode was the fine folks at the Collection Drawer Company, maker of the Drawer Box, the easy-access comic storage solution. Revolutionize your collection today. Go to collectiondrawer.com to learn how.
Oh, God.
Wake up, Jane.
Yeah, I was reading a text from Carlene. Jeez, visit us at comicgeekspeak.com to send us an email. The address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. To leave a voicemail, the number is 267-702-6642. Stop by thecomicforums.vanillaforums.com and let us know what you think of all the plethora of topics we covered today. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Thank you to everyone who contributes to the episodes, the care packages we get, the Muddle the Merds we get. We appreciate it. Keep it coming. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
Okay. With rings on their fingers and bells on their toes, the girls come to Tombstone in their high silk hose. They'll dance on the tables or give you a tune for whatever's in your wallet at the last chance. It's your last chance of giving.